before we start the show, before intros, before welcomes, how many cups of coffee have you had already today?
I had 1 cup of coffee, and now I'm on my Red Bull. How you doing?
What is going on, crypto fam? Happy Friday. Happy Forrest Day. Happy Cryptostackers Day. And welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. I am one of your hosts, Dave, and we are coming at you from our studio here in the heart of monsoon season, Las Vegas, Nevada, where we have no idea what to do where it rains, when it rains. Sounds like my daughter. If this is your first time checking us out, welcome. Before we get into the content, quick disclaimer. Nothing we say on this channel should be taken as financial advice. So please, as always, do your own research. With that being said, I'd like to introduce you to the man himself, Big Rob.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, the boring, the stale information. We package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, here at Sin City Crypto, we don't just do live streams. We also do deep dives. We do shorts. We wear shorts. And we also periodically post on Twitter. Need ask all of y'all a favor. You know what it is. That like button, baby. Let's go.
You're a like whore.
I do it for the likes, okay? I do it for the likes. I'm going to keep this here until we get enough likes on this video. Roll call. So first in the chat, Strictly Sports. Round of applause to our boy Strictly Sports. Congratulations. You, sir, won nothing. But Broke Yoshi is number 2. Close second. Robert Salazar. We got Jimmy. We got Blake, Hadir, Mervin, Redman, Big Chili Willie. We got Tox. Did I say Blake already?
You did.
Okay. Bullish Kenny G. We got Hit or Miss, who has upgraded to a level 2 hodler. Dang. Welcome to the club, my
What was
dude.
that, Rocco?
That was your face. I guess our overlay for hodler is gone, but you know, whatever. Now we have
thank you, Rocco. Round of applause.
Thank
you for supporting this channel.
And then we got Ari Danielle, K Factor. We got who else? Who else is in here? Shizzy. Delma's been here before.
Delma's been here.
Yeah, okay. Welcome back, Delma.
You know what Delma reminds me of? One of my favorite Mediterranean foods, dolma. You ever had dolma? Or the grape leaf stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
It reminds me of was it Thelma? What was the girl from Scooby-Doo? The redhead.
Velma.
Velma. That's
Velma or Daphne?
You talking about like straight attraction?
Like, who you marrying?
Oh.
I'm going Scooby.
Yeah, you dirty dog.
Anyways, please continue.
You kind of look like Shaggy. Now that I think about it. Have you ever made like a really big sandwich and
Just
try to
do
eat
the
it
roll
in one
call,
bite?
man.
Like
Finish the roll call. Jesus Christ.
We got Shizzy. Then Big D Servando back up here. He's one of the regulars now. Welcome to the regular club. Now we got Kyle. Who else we got in here?
Andy Luis.
Jonathan. He dropping a Ola in here. Ola. Now we got
Mexico in the house. All right.
a little Ola special. You know. You know where I went the other day? You ever went to Tacos El Gordo?
Yes, of course I have.
So good. Straight up.
You know they're opening up another location.
Yeah, right down the street from here.
That's right.
Over there by the Guitar Center.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, Robin's buying lunch.
Are they open yet? I saw they were pretty close.
Pretty soon.
If you guys come out, well, here's the thing. If you want some bomb ass authentic Tijuana style tacos, go to Tijuana. But if you can't make it all the way down there, you can come to Tacos El Gordo. They have a pretty good Tijuana style.
Do we get a sponsorship that I don't know of, or?
I hope this is actually us fishing for sponsorship. So Tacos El Gordo, if you'd like
You're
to,
watching.
if you'd like to send us some free tacos, we'll eat
Tacos
them
El
on
Crypto.
air.
Yeah.
We also got Sir Babe up in here.
Fino. All right.
Fino, yeah.
If you are watching us after the fact, we will have timestamps in this video so you can navigate freely as you please, but we always recommend watching from beginning to end.
Before we get into it, I do want to say, man, I want to give some recognition, man.
Okay.
You know what
it
is?
Thank you, man.
No. You know, before we launched our channel, one of my go-to sources of crypto content somebody I have a lot of respect for was the Pomp Show. And he's not doing the lives anymore. So today was his last live show.
Yeah, pull the plug.
So, for whatever reasons, who cares? It doesn't really matter, what's behind it. We just want to say, Pomp, if you're having to watch, or if you're from the Pomp community, man, we really appreciate you putting together that content, man. You're one of the OGs in the space, if there's such a thing as OG in the crypto spaces. We're so new. But if there is, you're one of them. And much love, man. You will be missed. But his channel will still be there, and he'll still do dedicated recorded videos, so and interviews. So, yeah. Now,
before
what else we got?
So obviously we have Forrest. He's gonna come on in about 10 minutes. We're talking Polygon. Polygon's making moves. Is this the alpha play? We'll talk about that. Also, Cardano delays the Vassal hard fork yet again. What does this mean? Are they the new Ethereum? We'll talk about that. And then we got some.
Charles had his hand in making Ethereum.
Yes.
And their roadmap.
Yes.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me if they have delays.
Far from the tree.
There you go.
But before we get into any content, I just want to share. I mentioned Vegas monsoon season. Rocco, you want to pull up my laptop? Vegas monsoon season. We just don't know how to act when we're in Vegas. And Exhibit A. This is the parking lot at the Link Hotel. The parking lot at the Link Hotel. Okay. Absolute flooding. If you go here, the streets are flooded. That's a light. And streets were shut down. It took me a long time to get home. It was bad. Exhibit 2. The Circa. Here, let me pause this one so the sound doesn't. Circa, the sports book. This is Circa Sportsbook. Flooding. Also, you got to remember, their pool, they have the largest outdoor sports book in the world, I believe. And it's right by their pool. And it was leaking through the pool.
Are we a weather channel now?
We're not, but this is Vegas. We're Sin City Crypto.
Every day you talk about the weather here.
Shut your mouth.
And we know we have like 2 viewers from Vegas, right?
This is inside of Planet Hollywood. Inside of one of the largest casinos, Planet Hollywood. And it is literally leaking all over the blackjack tables. You got to assume. Yeah. So, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was a big dump. So, we don't know how to act in Vegas when it rains. So,
somebody airdropping in the casino.
Somebody airdropped the water in the casino. So, Vegas Infrastructure Committee, if you're watching, we need some upgrades to some of our casinos and properties here in Las Vegas.
It doesn't rain for 2.5 years, so then we get one thunderstorm and the whole structure collapses.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, Rob. We're a little behind, so I'm going to send it over to you. Let's get into our little mini market watch before we bring our friend Forrest.
Big D says when gamblers quote unquote underwater. Something we're all too familiar with here.
Yes.
Hey, do me a favor, hit that toggle that thing off because it had the black bar on the bottom. You have the button. We made a button. Toggle. Click it. There you go. All right. So real quick, Bitcoin still holding strong, man. You know what? With all of everything that's happening on the macro factors as far as inflation,
don't say the
interest
R word.
rates.
Don't say the R word.
Bitcoin has stayed pretty resilient and surprisingly has pushed against the grain, especially with most of the content creators out here all beating this drum of $12,000 Bitcoin, $8,000 Bitcoin, 17,000, 16,000. Everyone's trying to call the bottom, and sounds awfully reminiscent of everyone trying to call the top. Oh, 100K Bitcoin, 120K Bitcoin, 150K Bitcoin, $90,000 Bitcoin. And we never got there. And you're hearing the same thing. You're hearing the same beat of the drum of these really low targets on the table. Of course, nothing's for certain. But just goes to show you that sometimes you got to unplug from what the narrative is in the community, because a lot of times community don't know what the hell they're talking about. Now, what this community is going to do is research and try to give you the most informed decision, but we're going to get it wrong. and so is everyone else. And so, and anyways, I just want to throw that out there. Also, we got Crypto and the Revolution. I think it's first. I've never seen it before.
I never seen
Either way.
it.
Crypto Revolution. Hola! Welcome, Sin City Crypto. Now, a quick glance over the charts before we bring in the forest fire. You know,
The forest.
bring in the forest fire. We are at $23,753.45 on Bitcoin. Now, just to take a look, I really enjoy taking a look at this little channel. I think it speaks volumes to where, and I don't mean volume as in trading volume, but it speaks volumes to where we've been at lately. And so $40,000 range. Obviously you had the Terra Luna USDT fall here, and then finally the Celsius, followed by Voyager, which brought us to the 20K mark. Now there's been a lot of talks that could have been bottom, could be seen. Could we see another step? Could we see another one of these steps further down? No,
I don't know.
Also, so what the Fed likes to look at for inflation numbers? A favorable number that they always follow.
The PCE.
Yeah, the PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index, rose to 6.8, the highest since 1982.
Yeah.
I went directly to their website. They haven't uploaded it yet, but last month I think it was 6.6 or 6.5. So obviously this is trending in the same direction that the CPI is, no surprise. And so inflation is real. It's here. Speaking of inflation, the European, they called it here the Eurozone. Is it Eurozone?
Well, when they refer to it as.
Okay. Anyways, the European Union, inflation hits a record high of 8.9. We had over 9% in 9.4 in the UK. Came out last week, I think it was, or maybe 10 days ago. So obviously the European Union is quickly following suit. You got to keep in mind that the UK is highly dependent on supply chain, being an island nation. So they are don't have so much of a domestic product as landlocked countries like the France and other ones as well. So there's that, and then just on some others, Meta loses half a trillion dollars.
No, oh my God.
So from their high, which was their 52-week high, they were over $384 per share.
Yeah.
And right now it's trading at $160. So which means they have lost over $500 billion. So just to put that in perspective, the entire market cap of Bitcoin is $450 billion. So more value lost in Meta's stock recently than the entire
Value of
Bitcoin from top to bottom, even Satoshi Stash. Now, that just kind of puts into perspective.
I like how they put him smiling to this article.
He has these like little beady eyes that like
he's odd.
Yeah.
Gary Gensler's son.
He's got
Gary Gensler's son. Rocco,
Kinda
that was
looks
good.
like
Gary
him.
Gensler's son. Yeah.
You know, like you ever what was that Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves movie where he was like the devil's advocate?
Yeah.
Where Al Pacino was the dad and he was like grooming Keanu Reeves.
Speaking of Al Pacino, do you like cappuccinos or lattes?
What is cappuccino and Al Pacino?
Pacino,
No, they're not. They rhyme. Congratulations.
Right. But we just lost 20 viewers.
Definitely cappuccino.
Okay.
Though.
That's a lot of money, $500 billion.
And then lastly, the last thing I'm going to cover here, China. So President Xi has warned Biden over Taiwan calls for corporations. So basically read this over. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but basically what happened is they had a 3-hour phone conversation. President Biden and China's leader, President Xi. They basically were. President Xi said, "Hey, leave us alone. We're going to do our thing. We're going to do whatever we want to do. Don't try to impede. Obviously, there's a lot of military drills going on. The reason I'm even discussing this is for the simple fact that what we saw in Ukraine, a lot of this, there's a lot of precursors to that invasion. So whether you think it's likely or something that can happen, just keep in mind that if another nation, one as big as China, were to go into a conflict with another nation and we were to impose sanctions in the same way that we did with Russia, keep in mind that China is a close second on the GDP race between the US as far as the top economy. And some people could even make an argument that China's economy is stronger than the US. Whatever you want to, wherever you want to slide 1 and 2, doesn't really matter. You're talking about 1 and 2.
Hold on there, my friend.
And so, if this were to escalate into a conflict with sanctions, you want to talk about a broken supply chain system and ramifications and global, the US dollar being the world reserve currency, and that could be in question because you're unplugging so many nations that are their powerhouses. Something to keep an eye on.
All the treasury securities they hold too, if they decide to dump those.
Yeah. All right. And then just where are we at in the stock market? NASDAQ up 1.5%, S&P 500 over 1%. So everything's looking pretty green. I think
there's a big dump coming.
You think? Do you think
there's a huge dump coming?
You know what? I was about to buy some crypto last night, and I was like, I was about to pull the trigger, and I was like, you know what? I have a feeling this weekend is going to have a big pullback.
One of my good friends,
I was literally like right there on the buy. I was like,
one of my good friends has been trading stock options for a long time, I'm talking like 15, 20 years. And he showed me the NASDAQ futures chart, and he showed me the volume since June. And he's convinced that the volume is fake, and the volume is there, not that it pumped it up, but to keep it from falling. And so we'll see what happens. But maybe we'll ask Forrest what he thinks. Speaking of Forrest, Rocco, let's not waste any time. Let's bring the man himself, Mr. Forrest. Forrest!
Hey!
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Hey, man. Thank you so much for coming back on. How you been, buddy?
Doing well, hanging in there. Can't complain too much when crypto's, up like 50% from where it was a lot of cryptos, not everything, but nice little relief rally.
You can if you're trying to buy more, actually, because I have complained. Now, I noticed a polo shirt. Is there a business meeting you have to get to? Do we need to get you out here by a certain time?
No, I'm good. I've got to do like this little par 3 golf thing tonight, and I just went ahead and threw on the shirt. But I've got plenty of time.
Cool, man.
Are you a fan of frisbee golf, or do you think that's just cheesy? Because I can't do the frisbee golf, man.
I like frisbee golf.
Of course you do.
I've never done frisbee golf. I've just never been in a situation where I've tried it or been around it. Like I'd be open to a frisbee.
Me too.
But as long as you're getting outdoors.
Maybe when we go to Georgia and meet up with Forrest, maybe we'll go do a round of frisbee golf. What do you say, Ryan?
How about we play cornhole?
Better than the water park.
The bag toss, cornhole.
Anything's better than the water park. Forrest, how? And this might be a very generic. It might even be a absolutely stupid question, but I want your opinion. What are your thoughts on how much value do you put on volume behind whether it's moves to the upside, moves to the downside, whether you think it's a dead cat bounce, an actual trend reversal? How much weight do you put on volume when it comes to looking at charts?
As a specific indicator, I don't use it as much as I probably should. I know a lot of successful traders do use it. I do look at it in terms of like longer periods of time. Like right now, you gotta ask yourself the question of like for price to be going up, where's the volume? Where's the buy volume going to come from? Like how many people are there that are really in the market to look to buy crypto right now? And where's that volume going to come from? It's going to be tough. I think there's only, I think we're in a situation where we're in a bear market. We're in a crypto bear market. And that volume is going to be concentrated on a few cryptocurrencies that could break away and perform well, like we saw Chainlink do last market cycle. But as a whole, for the total crypto market, I don't know where that volume is going to come in from. But to answer your question, as a specific indicator, I find it a little bit distracting. That's just my personal take on it. But I know it's a great indicator for a lot of people to use.
Interesting. Yeah, I get mixed results when I speak to friends around my circle that trade stocks and cryptos.
Yeah, I think just on the macro side, when volume can just give you just an idea of where the space is as far as like the masses, obviously. And so for me, when I see volume way down, 25% of where it was, I think it's just a reminder that, hey, maybe we are deep into a bear market, or maybe we are in the precipice of a bull run. But as far as on the shorter scale, I don't take from it.
Now, Vitalik, we talked about this, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. He said he does not think that the Ethereum merge, he doesn't think the markets have priced it in. He doesn't think they priced it in terms of the markets and the value. And he also doesn't think it's priced in when it comes to adoption and psychologically. Are you in agreement, Forrest? Like, what are your thoughts? Do you agree with him, or do you think the market's starting to price it in? Is it already priced in? What are your thoughts?
If Ethereum was trading at $10,000 right now, I would say, okay, the market's probably priced it in. If it was trading at $3,000 to $4,000, I would still be wondering, well, I don't know if we've really priced this in yet, because if you just literally break down the tokenomics and you start like doing a little bit of math, and you can start comparing to the supply crunches and squeezes we've seen from the Bitcoin halving in the past, there's just no possible way it's priced in yet. At least I don't think so. If you tried to extrapolate out using Bitcoin halvings as a comparison, we're looking at 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 X's from where we're at right now. And that's why I try not to, I sound crazy when we're in the middle of a bear market. I'm not going to throw out numbers like, Ethereum is going to 10K. But I think it's a distinct possibility that we get a 12 to 16 month bull market post merge, where we do see Ethereum just steadily grind upwards. Just for many reasons, including the supply decrease going from the inflationary to deflationary, but also not having that significant sell volume come in from miners having to cover costs. I think that's far more significant than a lot of people believe. And we've seen this happen time and time again with Bitcoin in particular, where the halving, even though it's completely predictable, we know exactly when it's going to happen, especially when we get really up close to it, and the market still does not price it in. Then the bulk of the price appreciation occurs in the 6 to 12 months post merge, every single time so far. So I don't think that that Ethereum has been priced in. In fact, I think it's been underpriced and oversold due to the forced selling in the market caused by the UST Terra Luna collapse. So I've got pretty high expectations for Ethereum, and I know that's contrary to what a lot of people believe. I also see like funds just are scooping it up, like over 500 million. $500 or $600 million worth of ETH accumulated in the last month from some of the biggest funds in the space. So they're buying it very, very aggressively.
Especially now with it going to proof of stake and the whole bad for environment narrative is essentially going to go away. We see ETH dominance at its lowest in the last 3 months was around 15%. We're getting close to that 20% mark again as Bitcoin's dominance is dropping. Now, I'm not saying ETH dominance can flip Bitcoin dominance, but what's the max you can see ETH dominance? Do you think it's 30% of the market, 25% of the market, especially leading up to the merge? Like, kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
6 to 12 months post merge, if we get a really strong bull run for Ethereum. And again, there's going to be some global macro factors to factor in here. Like, how bad of a crash is this going to be? Are people going to be like losing their homes? Are people going to be, out of work? How bad is this going to get? Obviously, that's going to have some effect, but I still think ETH can run in a bubble by itself and decouple from the rest of the market if the merge goes off without a hitch and if things continue to go well. But to answer your question, how high do I think dominance can go? I think I would put it this way, and this is not a super popular opinion. I get that. I think Ethereum, I'd be surprised if Ethereum did not flip Bitcoin, put it that way. I'd be,
really?
If 12 months from now, or 12 months post merge, whenever the merge date happens, if Ethereum has not flipped Bitcoin before the next halving, at least for a small period of time, I'd be very shocked. I just think it has a major catalyst, and Bitcoin's kind of in this dead period of zone where it's still pretty far away from the merge, or not the merge, the next halving in March of 2024. And there's not like, unless Bitcoin gets like an ETF, like a spot ETF approved or something like that, I just don't see it having a major catalyst until then. So I think basically Bitcoin's potentially down in the dumps for the next year, while Ethereum for the next year is hopefully going to be zooming. And I think that's just the play to make. And then when the merge comes back around, or not the merge, sorry, the second time I've done that, the Bitcoin halving comes back around, and we're 3 to 6 months away from the Bitcoin halving, I'd expect Bitcoin to rally and do its thing like it normally does. But right now, we're just so much closer to this ETH merge than we are the Bitcoin catalyst. So just to me, it makes sense to be positioned in ETH and expect more from ETH.
Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimate the utility side when it comes to crypto. And when at least comparing Ethereum or even any competitor against Bitcoin, a lot of corporate institutions get thrown out there. Well, when institutions start buying Bitcoin and start holding Bitcoin as a treasury asset, I like to make the argument of like, what happens when institutions start using crypto as far as smart contract capabilities, integrating it into a payment system, or just using it as a rail to transact NFTs or to spur an NFT ecosystem. Or maybe this, obviously if the metaverse ends up flourishing to what it's expected to be, especially sooner than later, you're going to see an exponential growth when it comes to smart contract platforms, and what better platform to run smart contracts than Ethereum. And so, I could easily see a scenario where certain corporations, they start holding Bitcoin in their treasury assets, but I'm starting to see the likes of maybe, these giant tech companies, Apple, Google, Meta, integrating smart contracts to fulfill the demand for this metaverse and or crypto payments in the future. And we see what utility does to the price of a token for the simple fact that you need to hold it to transact with it. And then, you're paying Ethereum gas fees with the token. So you need to physically have some. Right. So on a corporate level, they're going to have a ton of it. And so not short selling the corporate vision when it comes to Bitcoin, I think that is tremendously important if you're on as a straight up a hedge against inflation. But let's not kid ourselves, man. The crypto integration in a corporate is coming. Whether you,
we're already seeing it happen.
Whether or not you think it's gonna supplant the whole thing and it's gonna just replace everything, that's to be seen. But in some form, majority of the corporate America around the world, S&P 500 percentage, the larger percentage of those companies will have some exposure to crypto, and more than likely, their exposure is going to be in the form of smart contracts. And some big guys will hedge with inflation with Bitcoin, but it's going to be a drop in the bucket. And I absolutely agree. Ethereum will flip Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to happen before the next halving. I think it might be in the height of the next bull run. I think I don't think the ecosystem and the dApps are quite there yet. I think we're going to make up a lot of ground, but at the same time, would not surprise me, honestly. If the merge comes out, you get some big players incorporated.
Well, like I said, now the whole ESG, bad for the environment narrative is going to be gone. So people aren't going to be as afraid. We saw what happened when Polygon went carbon negative. You see, the Mercedes-Benz thing, the Disney thing. And so, anyways, Forrest, we're going to hand this channel over to you, my friend. Do your thing.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with all of that. Especially... a quick note on the whole ESG thing and environmentally friendly thing. It just kind of gives these companies and institutions a kind of a benefit, an additional benefit from an optics standpoint to actually take the plunge and jump in. But then also on the whole China-Taiwan thing, Taiwan's like a huge chip manufacturer. So obviously if there's some tension there, I think that proof of stake currencies are going to be a little bit more attractive to hedge with, just based off of the fact that the chip requirements to run proof of work are going to be a little bit higher. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Taiwan and China go at it a little bit, or if anything happens there. Don't be surprised if the proof of work stuff takes a little bit harder of a hit than proof of stake. I don't know. Who knows if people will be thinking along those lines if something that terrible happens in terms of a concept.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective. Yeah, I think a lot of people are short selling the impact of this chip shortage.
Yeah.
Right now, it's starting to the supply chain is starting to ease, but
not if China invades. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So first thing I'm looking at is the main thing that I like to look at for macro is oil. I just think I think it's having the biggest effect on CPI. I think it's right, like prices going from literally negative oil all the way up to close to all-time highs is what's causing a lot of the stress on the economy right now globally. Obviously, there's other things, and a lot of this is based off of conflicts in Russia and Ukraine. But it's a really solid indicator or test, if you will, of a lot of different variables in the market, and this affects a lot of different things. And what I don't like about what I'm seeing right here is that we have broken through in the last 2 days. Really, you can see 3-4 days ago we started testing with this downtrend line with these wicks here. Recently, we've broken through. Good news is we started pumping today and got rejected pretty hard. We got a bit of a wick up here where oil started getting sold off quite quickly. Here we go. Let me get rid of that. Oil started getting sold off as soon as it tested up above this 21-week simple moving average. That's a good sign. Like, I want oil to stay low. Lower oil, better economy, better situation for risk assets. That's what I'm looking for. This is one of the few things, obviously, aside from China and Taiwan, that situation developing. Aside from that, the main thing that could scare me out of my crypto positions, and not necessarily scare me out of my crypto positions, but make me a little bit more keen to take some profits and de-risk a little bit, would be if we just saw like a big move out of oil and we started going back up aggressively to like $110, $112 a barrel. Then I'm probably going to lower my profit taking targets for some of my crypto positions. And I'm going to lower my accumulation regions to accumulate a little bit lower if oil starts going up. What we don't want to see is just being the end of the downtrend and us continuing on in this uptrend, macro uptrend. So I'd love it if this was the top for oil, and from here on out we're going down to sub $90 a barrel. I did see some analysis somewhere. I don't know if it was a headline. Maybe it was like a Ernst & Young report that they kind of are expecting oil to come down to around $60 to $80. Maybe it was a Raoul Powell thread. I'm not entirely sure. But there is some analysis out there somewhere expecting oil to come down to like $60 to $80 a barrel, which I think would be a good sign for the economy. All right, so that's enough global macro. My thoughts on this kind of relief rally in terms of Bitcoin and crypto bouncing back a little bit. We are seeing a bullish structure, but we're also seeing a structure that we've kind of seen, a pattern that we've seen a couple times now, where you come back up and bounce, right? You consolidate, you drop a little bit, you have your crash, right? You come back up and you deviate from this level, right? You deviate from this level, and then it's all down, right? Same thing happened over here, right? It looks like you're breaking out upwards, making a higher high. It's a deviation, and then you crash down. Hopefully, that's not what's happening here. It looked like that was going to be happening again, and then the support and the buyers started coming back in, right? And we've been pushing up. So hopefully we don't turn back over and go lower. Again, my stance on the situation is unless something major happens, I think that the market has just been, the crypto market in particular has been very oversold, and global macro, while there is correlation, I don't think that that correlation necessarily means causation. And what I mean by that is what's been causing this market, Bitcoin in particular, to fall so drastically is the UST first of all, just the market cycle, right? This is a normal market cycle. We really have not deviated course from this 4-year Bitcoin halving market cycle, right? Everything's like, if you would have, you could have predicted this, put it this way, you could have predicted this 3-4 years ago, that we're going to get a Bitcoin halving here. We're going to go into a bull market. The bull market's going to peak, and then we're going to start going back down. Right now, how high, like the extremities of this bull market and the extremities of this bear market, right? The highs and lows are much more difficult to predict. However, just this general pace, regardless of what's going on in terms of quantitative tightening and recession, is not that any different from what we'd have predicted 3-4 years ago, based off of just Bitcoin halvings every 4 years, right? So my opinion on what's dropping this market and the forces that are driving this market down in particular is not necessarily a bad global macro situation, not necessarily recession. I think the vast majority of it is due to the normal market cycle for Bitcoin peaking, right? And then exasperated by the Terra Luna collapse and all of the contagion and the insolvencies of other corporations and institutions within the crypto space, causing a bunch of forced selling, causing us to bottom out and trigger multiple bottom indicators from which we're starting to bounce. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say like, hey, this is the bottom for the bear market. It could be that this forced selling ripped off the Band-Aid and got us lower and down to where we needed to go faster than it otherwise would have. That could be the case. And maybe this is going to be a shorter bear market. And right, instead of just, slowly bleeding down like we may to these levels, like we may have in a normal bear market, maybe we've ripped the Band-Aid off, gone down lower, and we're just going to kind of return to the mean here, right? And chop sideways before the next Bitcoin halving. Right. So I'm not necessarily saying, hey, bull market's on, we're going back up. But I am looking for some reasonable resistance levels to de-risk at and take some profits on the stuff that I bought down here. Right. All the DCAing in on Ethereum, Solana, and AVAX I did down in this region over the last couple of weeks. I do want to trim those positions and de-risk and take some profits and unlock some capital in the case that this is just a short relief rally. But what you can see happened last time is last time we came down to the green easy band level. Last 2 times, or basically every time we come down to this green easy band level, you'll almost always see a return to the 21-week simple moving average, right? And that's where you want to de-risk. At least that's where I'm going to be de-risking, right? So for Bitcoin, we have 2 really nice examples of what the plan is. We have one return or mean reversion, where we'd have wanted to, let me actually clear these out so I can draw them in kind of real time here, right? Had you accumulated the green easy band levels, you would have wanted to sell the 21-week simple moving average, the mean reversion, right? It pumped up. Oh no, it kept going and I sold. Well, that's okay, because oftentimes it comes back and retests it on the backside, right? And you get to get back in as support once it confirms. Right? The second time this happened in most recent history, you would have sold the 21-week simple moving average, it would have dropped, right? And you would have been able to start accumulating at these lower levels, which is perfect. So this time around, again, there's nothing guaranteed saying that we are going to go and retest our 21-week simple moving average. In fact, this time we didn't, right? So we could easily start dropping again and go lower, and then we just turn the DCA back on. But if we do go up and retest the 21-week simple moving average, this is where I'll be de-risking, taking 20 to anywhere, depending on how I feel at the moment and what the market's looking like, taking anywhere between 20 and maybe at the most 50% of my position that I've recently accumulated, selling it, right? In worst case scenarios, we just spike and we go crazy and we just shove straight through it and get left behind, which is fine because we still have, 50% or more that's going up in value that we accumulated down in these low regions. And that's great if crypto goes up. So what if we sell a little too early? But more likely what's going to happen is if we see a mean reversion is one of the 2 things that we saw last time, either a breakthrough and a retest, in which case we can get back in, or clean rejection where we can sell off, right? And look to accumulate lower again. So same thing goes for Ethereum. I mean, I know I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart here, but essentially I'm looking for the exact same thing on Ethereum. And just for some extra confluence, what you can do is just draw a downtrend line. Just draw a downtrend line. And, downtrend lines are a little bit iffy. You can cut some data out here and there. You can see recently we've kind of broken through this downtrend line, right? But another good place to hedge is if we break through and get resistance at this downtrend line. Same thing on Bitcoin. I do want to draw your attention to this particular phenomenon here. This is called the Coinbase premium. So Coinbase, Bitcoin on Coinbase is currently trading $10 to $20 higher than on Binance. And because there's so many institutions and funds and whales that buy through Coinbase, what this is indicative of is that it's indicative of whale accumulation, indicative of funds accumulating Bitcoin, indicative of buying. This is a neat little indicator that you can use to just tell whether or not there's buy pressure and whale accumulation on Coinbase. If there is, price is more and momentum is more likely to go up, at least in the short term. Now, this could flip at any moment. We could just be talking here and it could flip and start going negative, and that would be kind of a bearish indicator. But usually, if you just spot check this in an uptrend, you're going to see Coinbase trading at a premium. If you check this and we're spilling off, usually Coinbase is going to be trading at a negative premium, right? It's going to be cheaper on Coinbase because whales are dumping. And one more note that I wanted to show you guys. This is a cool little trick that I've recently been using to trade with. Got a decent little trade going here on Bybit. It was intended to be a scalp. Catching this support here, you can see entry point was really, really solid. The stop loss is in a really good spot in profit. But I want to show you guys how how you can find really strong support levels very, very easily on just about anything. So the whole idea here is, I don't know if you guys saw my YouTube video where I put this out, and it's kind of, I was going to keep it a secret because I'm worried that people are going to start using this and not tune into me anymore, or tune into our YouTube channels for analysis. It's that good, yeah. It's not 100% perfect, but the idea is you just find a swing low and a swing high of any move on any time frame. Not always going to work. However, and it's not guaranteed that you're going to come back to these levels, but it is a very consistent way to draw a trend line. And you can see obviously that this trend line broke very early on, but all you do is you take your line from your swing low to your swing high, right? You look for where price broke the line and you just draw a horizontal line across, and that's going to be your strong support level, right? And obviously, it was perfect this time around. It's not going to be perfect every single time. But this is, on a shorter term time frame, how I was able to find this entry point, right? This entry point, this support came in off of this trade, my most recent trade setup came in off of a pretty clean support level. Built off of this. So all you do is you just draw the support zone, right? So where did price action break? Right there. And it came down perfectly to that entry point. And you can draw a little zone if you want, where it starts breaking through and you get a little accumulation zone. I'll show you guys a couple more. So like Solana, I think I might already have these drawn out. If I go back to the daily here, right? Our, pre-bull market low to our bull market high. We draw our line through, and we can just kind of construct a support range of where price action actually breaks through this trend line, right? Draw two horizontal levels, and that gives us a really nice clean support zone to accumulate and to buy off of this macro trend. And it doesn't mean that this is going to be a reversal for the bear market and we're going to go straight back into bull market and we'll go all the way up here. What it does help us do, though, is identify the pivot points where we could see strong bounces, right? So it doesn't mean that this is the end of the bear market, no. But it just means that there's a strong likelihood of us getting a bounce there. I'll go to, I guess, one more, maybe near protocol. Don't know if I've done this one yet, but I'm just going to try it out live and see if it works out. Low to high, right? Where do we break? We construct our range here, and what do you know? That's where we've been bouncing. So it's a fun little hack, if you will, for finding strong support levels and just trying to scalp some bounces. So you guys can play around with that if you'd like.
So you
But
kind of
that's-
use that
that's what I got.
when you're coming off of, say, all-time high and you see it's an obvious pullback and consolidation. This is probably something you would use there to see where the bottom would be, or the local bottom. Is that kind of what I'm taking away, right?
Well, any sort of bounce. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the local bottom, but it works on like multiple time frames. And the reason it works is all it is it's just a consistent way to draw a trend line. And the breaking of this trend line is usually going to be a contention point between buyers and sellers, at which you're going to have more contention in the future if we come back down to this level. Right. So it's just a identifying this pivot point. And it's just a really easy way. Like, if we don't have these lines on the chart, if I make them disappear real quick, if we don't have these lines on the chart and you're just looking at this chart and you're trying to find the support and the resistance, where are we going to bounce? You might think, oh, this low down here looks like it could be support. It looks like we could have some support in here. And it looks like we did. But sometimes this contention point where all this buying and selling occurred here is kind of hidden because it's neither a high nor a low. It's just kind of hidden in there. And if we do this method, we can just kind of find where, hey, this was a contention point. This is a strong opportunity for a bounce, or a place where we'd expect some support to come in and start bouncing.
Nice little Easter egg you got there. I like that. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah. It's never, it's not something that I'd put all my Easter eggs in this basket. But if you want to mess around with it, and it's just one of those things that can give you that extra boost of confidence if you are looking to pull the trigger in the midst of a pullback.
I don't get it. Did I miss something? Where's the Easter egg thing? All right, Forrest. Do you mind doing TA on one coin? We decided to ask our community what coin they wanted, and there's been a lot of chat about Gala.
Gala. Okay. So I'm not 100% familiar with Gala's tokenomics. So I always like to have like a base understanding of tokenomics before I, give too strong of a TA opinion on anything, because it could.
What is your normal, like, say you're gonna look into tokenomics to say this project or just any project? What kind of is your philosophy? Not to like drag out like a whole list, but is there any like big red flags, or just something you're looking for confirmation that it may be a good project or something like? What are you looking for when you say? So
basically,
tokenomics?
there's a lot of stuff can be hidden in the tokenomics that are in the white paper, and like, you really want to be paying attention to who's getting tokens, where are tokens going, inflationary, deflationary. I'm going over to CoinMarketCap here, and I don't have night mode on, so you guys are probably getting blinded. All right. One thing that I like to look at is circulating supply versus total supply. So I can tell right away that Gala has a 6.97 billion circulating supply, but it looks like a 35 billion total supply. So because that ratio is so small, there's a high likelihood, unless that inflation stretched out over a very long period of time, there's a very high likelihood that it has a high inflation rate, and that high inflation rate can act as a negative. So it actually doesn't have a percentage circulating, but we just kind of confirmed circulating supply is a small percentage of total supply. I don't know what max supply is, but this is telling me that, hey, like, they probably have an aggressive distribution and emission schedule, and that's whoever's getting those emissions and receiving those distributions of tokens are probably turning around and selling them on the market at some level. I don't know if it's VCs. I don't know if it's miners or node operators. I don't know who it is because I don't know anything about this project's tokenomics. But that can really, really put some stress on the downwards pressure of Gala. Let's see if I can pull this up in Cryptostackers.
It's funny you mentioned that first. There's definitely all of our deep dives, and when we go into the details of projects, that's usually the biggest factor for us on circulating supply versus total supply, max supply. So
Yeah, it can just set you up for kind of some failure right off the bat. I'm looking at a resistance zone between 6 and 7 cents, resistance at around 9 cents. That, this is going to be tougher for buying in. Now, obviously, this was very, very explosive off in the bull market. I mean, this appreciated, and unfortunately, I think probably a lot of people got wrecked here buying into this and looking at this as like a longer term hold. Got to be really careful about your longer term holds and the tokenomics and the circulating supply, understanding that, hey, if they have an aggressive emissions schedule, this is going to be, very, downwards moving, especially in a bear market. So yeah, I mean, we're kind of playing around in this range that we established off of this kind of dead cat bounce over here. So this high over here is kind of giving us the support range, or was giving us the support range. We got some bounces between the 1x and the 2x short level, some consolidation here in the 2x and the 3x zone. But ultimately, it looks like now we're kind of holding this 1x short as resistance. Given the current, I know a lot of people may be interested in this cryptocurrency, may already have a bag of this cryptocurrency. I just look at, all right, if all the things that I could be invested in right now, of all the opportunities out there, given the recession and the global climate not looking great, I want to be in a cryptocurrency that's going to attract a lot of buyers, or be able to attract the most amount of buyers given the bear market and given bad global macro, given a recession and high inflation. For me personally, that just the thing that makes sense is Ethereum. I think Ethereum can still get buyers in a down market because it's got a massive, supply catalyst coming in. I don't know if Gala has one of those catalysts, but I do know it's a low cap cryptocurrency and is probably going to be, shy. I think a lot of investors and buyers are going to be shying away from these low caps in a bear market. Whereas anybody that's coming in fresh to crypto, any new onboarded, people to the crypto space, they're buying Bitcoin and ETH, and then, they may be buying some Solana, AVAX, Cardano if they're really starting to get into altcoins. But, new people being onboarded into crypto, they're buying Bitcoin and ETH. And in a bear market, I mean, I think that's what people kind of flee to, and those are going to be the safest bets. I'm not particularly a big fan of, even though we get some of these really nice pumps off of the bottom, right? If we look at CoinMarketCap here and we just sort by, the movements over the last 24 hours, yeah, it's tempting to start playing around in some of these because they're pumping 15, 20, 25% in a day. I think Ethereum Classic pumped like 50% yesterday. Yeah, it's tempting, but unless you're going to be getting in and out and be trading those in the short term, I'm just not in the headspace right now to be messing around with these really low caps, just because
I think
the trend is still bear market.
Gala, I think, has a lot of marketing that people aren't really realizing at face value. I know there's a ton of YouTube content creators that I hear pitching Gala's ecosystem. They do have a pretty interesting portfolio. I think out of the play to earn games, they are the leader. So that's if you believe in that sector, in the play to earn or earn to play, whatever you want to call it. If you're bullish on just that category, I think Gala is probably the safest play. But I mean, they have their Gala conventions like twice a year. They have a pretty big community, but I think they aggressively market. So maybe perhaps that circulating supply gap between that and the total supply is for an aggressive marketing budget. Would be my first guess. I still think the play to earn is far off of where it's going to be, and I just think they're going to build. I mean, any space in either metaverse or play to earn, I think you're just going to see tons of building in the bear market. I don't think anything's going to pop off and stand out and get market adoption during the next year and a half. And
Especially in the bear
so,
market.
yeah, and I think entry point on a project that's barely in the top 100, number 97 on the market cap list, I find it hard for it to break out of that spot and pump. I mean, you take a look at the likes of Decentraland and Sandbox. They had an absolute takeoff at the beginning of the bull market, and this is a project I think has that potential. in the next come up of a bull market. So right now, I probably wouldn't get much exposure on this myself, but
Yeah.
it is promising. If you're bullish on the gaming, they have a very good portfolio. I know the Farmville or Farm something.
Not a big gamer.
And they also have a partnership with The Walking Dead, which looks pretty good too. So something to keep an eye out for. But I kind of lean with Forrest on this one. So there's a thing on Friday our community done, a TGIF. Instead of thank God it's Friday, it's thank God it's Forrest. So we got a super chat from Marky Mark, said thank you, Forrest. Our community loves you. We love you as well. Before we let you go, Forrest, anything else you want to talk about, or anything kind of happening in your world?
No, just been grinding, just with Cryptostackers and the content, but also with Disco Kitties and the platform, the music streaming platform, doing a lot of web development right now, reaching out to VCs, artist onboarding. It's just, time to build and time to work, just heads down lately, which is, it's fun. It's not fun, whatever, it'll pay off. But yeah, we'll get there.
And I know you guys are pushing marketing really hard right now. So I think for me, having gone through minting multiple NFTs and trying to find good projects, the hardest thing to know is whether the founders are going to follow through on the roadmap. And I feel like when you know someone personally, and even though we haven't met yet, but you've been coming on our show for the last 2 months, and seeing how you built up Cryptostackers Pro to over $1 million in revenue a year.
Yeah, depending, some, bull market months, yes, and bear market months, no. But yeah, net for pacing right now that's what the pacing's at. So yeah, sometimes above that, sometimes below that, depending on the market.
So when you put an NFT project in front of me, and the biggest question mark is essentially eradicated, and are they going to follow through on the roadmap, and have they had previous success? I don't see why anyone wouldn't look at what you guys are doing with Disco Kitties and not want to FOMO in. So, all right, Forrest, we appreciate you as always. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend, and we look forward to finally meeting you face to face
cornhole
in 3.
That's right. Or beer pong.
2.5 weeks.
Or beer pong.
Yeah, I might hit you up and figure out what are some good neighborhoods, because we're trying to get an Airbnb.
Can we stay at your house?
Stop it. No, say no, please. For the sake of you and I don't know if you're married, but if you have a wife, and yes, say no. Forrest, thank you so much again. We will see you next week, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Take care.
Bye.
You know what I love about Forrest? He is not afraid to go against the grain. He does it all the time. Yeah. Did it on Around the Blockchain, the whole Gala thing.
Especially I love this take on Bitcoin, especially in our space. It is the strongest asset in crypto.
Like if you say anything negative about Bitcoin, you're shunned, and he doesn't care.
And the thing is, it is the strongest asset. And at the end of the day, it's your safest play. And so if you're lacking experience, if you're lacking conviction, if you're lacking the due diligence to do research, honestly, Bitcoin is probably your best go-to, honestly. Now, if you have the time to follow projects, see their development, see their roadmap, see if they're fulfilling that, if there's any issues, vulnerabilities, where's the community, who are the partnerships. You have the time to do that, and you can identify these up and coming projects. Bitcoin will not be the top dog forever. I adamantly believe. I always compare Bitcoin to, say, the S&P 500 as an example. I know that's a group of companies, but if you look at the market cap of gold, it's 20 trillion. It might be lower, 18, 20 trillion, somewhere in there. But when you look at the market cap of gold, it pales in comparison to the tech industry. It pales in comparison to some of these other big sectors.
When it comes to crypto, and someone commented on a video we did, a YouTube short we did, talking about gold is backed by gold, real estate's backed by land. What's crypto backed by? Crypto is backed by technology. It's backed by software. It's backed by blockchain, and it's backed by.
But you know what it's mostly backed by? The biggest thing that backs blockchain technology, the biggest thing that backs Bitcoin is frustration.
What?
It is. It's frustration. It literally is. The premise.
Is this a hot take?
The reason why it was created was the frustration of taxation, of just theft, because that's literally what it is.
Privacy.
Privacy, perhaps. I don't think Bitcoin was built for privacy. Bitcoin was built as an option to unplug from the politics that is the monetary system we have now. And what we saw as of lately with the money printing and the destruction of your purchasing power and the ramifications of this inflation that we're having now is not going to be acute and short term, and perhaps we get a pullback. That is likely. However, the fact that we went from, was it $4 or $5 trillion in circulation to over 20, we're going to feel that for the rest of your lives. And we're going to look back 10, 20 years from now, and the median price of a house is not going to be $500,000. It's going to be $2 million. It's going to be $3 million. And so the money that has been printed and the failures of our government are going to be long lasting. And the frustration that you can't work a median job making $55,000 a year, $50,000 a year.
55K is going to be the new poor.
And you can't do that and afford a 2-bedroom apartment. You can't have that job and buy a house. You can't have that job and get a car that you're excited to buy. You have to settle.
You probably won't even be able to use that money to buy a dozen eggs and a gallon of milk.
It didn't used to be like that. I mean, you look in the 60s and the 70s, the 50s, not even 80 years ago. Not even. You look back at those times, and what did you have? Door-to-door salesmen that had a house and a stay-at-home wife. Think about that. A salesman had a car, he had a home, a mortgage, a car payment, paid his utilities, his groceries, had land, and he had a wife that didn't work, that took care of the kids. And that one job, a salesman, door-to-door salesman, provided enough financial stability for him to live the American dream. And now you live the American dream. What is the dream? You take a 50K salary, and then you get a roommate, and then you buy a used car that's overpriced by 30%. That's sad, bro. Frustration built Bitcoin. That's why it's here. Boom. Bye-bye, finance.
That should have been the hot take right there. I think that's good enough for a hot take. You want to roll right into talking points?
Let's go.
Talking points. Let's go. You know what I love about the show is we can go completely off cuff. Like, that was not the plan for the hot take, but guess what? When we go in and do the timestamps, that'll be the hot take. That was a good one. All right. So Polygon was the theme of our title and our thumbnail. By the way, if you like the thumbnail, put a 1 in the chat. I thought it was a good one today. So we're going to piggyback 2 Polygon announcements. First of all, they announced their plans for the second half after hitting significant milestones in the first half. Polygon also reports notable partnerships with impressive number of Web 2 and Web 3 projects, including Meta, Flipkart, the NFL, eBay, and more. They have massive plans for the rest of 2022, which will focus on 3 key areas: products, events, and accelerators. Polygon hopes to expand its foray into the zero-knowledge space. Regarding accelerators, Polygon said it would be announcing accelerators to turbocharge the most promising projects in its ecosystem. It forecasts that major partnerships in the next few months will sync builders with some of the best minds in the business, while it aims to equip developers. Speaking of some of those partnerships, Mercedes-Benz and Polygon to develop a blockchain-based data sharing platform. Daimler Southeast Asia, which is a part of the Mercedes-Benz Group, announced a data sharing network based on blockchain technology, which will leverage Polygon to launch its products. It will let businesses purchase and sell and trade data in a decentralized setting. Some of this data includes insurance information, clinical trials, and more. This is a quote from the Polygon CEO. The initiative further showcases the widespread adoption of the Polygon network by top brands. Polygon continues to showcase its potential as one of the top blockchain platforms enterprises. Top blockchain platform enterprises can rely on.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. I know I sound like Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe. Robin, is Polygon like Is it going to be the next Cinderella? The next
Well,
like
let me tell you something. here.
$100 billion project?
Let me tell you something. Okay.
You can tell me too something.
What is the most secure and most safe crypto asset? Is Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
What's the most secure and safe car you can buy? Ford F-150.
Solana.
Ford F-150. And
Hold on. Whoa. Are you being serious or are you joking?
yeah,
Ford.
maybe. I'm telling you, Ford F-150, bro. That's the go-to creme de la creme as far as you want to work truck. Okay. You know, you trying to
give me
you
a
want
Toyota,
stability.
give me a Toyota.
So now
I can't talk to
So now with that said, Bitcoin, yeah, it's stable. It's there. It's what you want. You know what I mean? Like it's what you need for work.
Are you gonna make the connection here or what? You're gonna connect the dots?
Now, my favorite altcoin in the car space
dude,
is
come
Mercedes, bro. If I want to drive in luxury, I want to enjoy myself, I'm getting a Mercedes, baby. And if I want a top tier altcoin, I'm going with Polygon. So I got my favorite altcoin, I got my favorite car here, and we're gonna mash them together, baby. And you know what? Your boy gonna drive in style, making Polygon
Robin,
and Matic work for
Here's
me.
another hot take.
What's up?
Polygon flips Cardano.
Wouldn't surprise me at all, in the slightest.
Polygon flips Binance.
Nah.
No?
Actually, no. Throw that in there too. Wouldn't surprise me either.
What do you guys think?
I think.
Can Polygon and ETH hold two of the top 3 spots in the cryptocurrency market cap at the height of the next bull run? Put a 1 if you think they can, put a 2 if you think they can't. Polygon's
about to flip Polkadot. I mean, just put that in perspective.
A layer 2 is going to flip essentially a layer 0, layer 1. I'm super bullish on Polygon. I'm telling you guys, going carbon zero was so important for the adoption of Polygon in the mainstream world, mainstream business. What, like the whole ESG thing, whether you agree with it or not, it is literally, it can make or break you in the world of traditional finance, in the world of cryptocurrency and blockchain. It has so much power, so much say and sway in the world of business. If you go against ESG, you're essentially dead. You will get no funding. You will get no support. And by Polygon going carbon net zero, you saw what happened. Disney came in, Mercedes-Benz came in. This is just the beginning, guys. Polygon, you might think $1 is expensive, and this is not financial advice. You might think $1 is expensive because you saw 30 cents, but I'm telling you, you load up on $1, you'll still see 10x, 20x, 30x. Polygon, especially when you have the founder of Ethereum come out and say, I would prefer no smart contracts to be ran on the layer 1. I prefer it all to be sent over to layer 2s, like Polygon.
You know, here's the fact. Merge doesn't really equate to faster transaction, cheaper transaction. A little bit. Alleviates it a little bit. Maybe 5-10% faster. Well, either way, doesn't really address the underlying issue. And so you're going to need the layer 2. And if the Ethereum roadmap has taught us anything, is that it's not a short-term roadmap. It's a long-term roadmap that obviously takes a while to fulfill. And it should, because it has so many users, such a big ecosystem, and you're changing this on the fly. You know, you got to do it right. And we've seen the failures of rushing out upgrades and hard forks. Anyways, where I'm getting at is that if you want exposure to Ethereum network, you want exposure to smart contracts, you want to build on the #1 player, Ethereum, might not be ideal, especially for corporations, to build on Ethereum for the sheer scaling and speed. And so what a better option than Polygon, the leading layer 2. We also had, so they integrated ZK rollups was, so there's zero knowledge proof with the EVM, so the Ethereum virtual machine.
dude.
And so this is the first time that's been done. Now, I know that's a bunch of word jargon and whatever, but just know that the rollups are literally tied into the Ethereum mainnet. And so what the difference is, perhaps before, the rollups were done on the Polygon chain, and then it just checked in with the Ethereum net with block production. Now, what has changed with the EVM ZK rollups integration at the same time is that this is all being done on chain. And so you're leveraging more security and heightening your speed. And so I know that went over a lot of people's heads. I don't think we even discussed it here, but absolute game changer for Ethereum, man. And for Ethereum and for Polygon. And so this is what I take away, Disney, Mercedes, is that the biggest players that want exposure to crypto,
They're using ETH.
and they want to get into the smart contracts,
They want
Ethereum because they're the top dog. They're the smart contracts, but it ain't scalable. It ain't scalable.
They also have longevity too. That's important.
Exactly. So it's not scalable enough for corporations. So you have one option. You're a corporation. We want smart contracts. You got to go Ethereum, especially if you're a big ass company.
You're not going Binance.
And if you're going to go
Chain.
Ethereum, you can't go mainnet. So you have one option. Polygon. Dude, this is the proof is here. It's simple. It's right in front of your face. Stop overlooking it. Polygon is going to absolutely take the hell off, man. And so
You know what? I'm buying.
just find your entry point.
I'm buying
Not
some
financial advice.
I'm buying some right now. Robin got me pumped up.
Find your entry point because it's taking off.
You got to take over. I'm buying.
You're buying Polygon right
Buying
now?
Polygon right now. Being
Is your
serious.
screen cracked?
Being dead serious. My screen's always cracked. My kids always on my phone. Daddy, can I use your phone?
Let's buy another
I don't got
case.
the money, bro. I'm broke.
He
I'm
says he
crypto
doesn't
broke.
have the money and he's FOMOing into Polygon. Literally.
That's crypto money is
Buy-
different
buy
than I don't
less-
have fiat
buy
money.
less Polygon,
I don't have fiat
more
money
phone
for that.
case.
No. Polygon. Let's move on. We talked about Cardano. Ethereum. Cardano. Their hard fork has been delayed yet again. So
I
at
thought there
first,
was two Polygon things. Was that both of
they
them?
both of them. Yeah, I piggybacked them.
Oh,
You had
well,
H2, so their second quarter, third quarter, what they plan on doing, and then I coupled that with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Mercedes.
say less.
Don't question me. So it got delayed. It's supposed to happen end of June. Got delayed to end of July. Well, guess what? It's been delayed by another few weeks. The long-awaited Vassal hard fork, which will bring in Hydra, which will bring in over 1 million transactions per second, apparently. Cardano's much-anticipated Vassal hard fork has been pushed to a few more weeks. This is a quote from Kevin Hammond, who is the technical manager for IOG. The team is working very hard to deliver the benefits of Vassal to the community. Good news is that this week we have had a new 1.35.2 release that fixes issues that stake pool operators, dApp developers, internal testing, and others have identified. The goal is that it will flush out any issues as we go to the Vassal hard fork. All jokes aside, Cardano is an extremely long play. I would say is the longest play. You're looking at the top 20 cryptocurrency tokens. They do not care about price. They don't care about investor. They don't care. They don't care if the community's mad that it's staying at 50 cents for another 10 years. They don't care. They have a vision, they have a goal, and they don't care if it takes 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. If you want to hold Cardano, it is not the token you want to hold for 100, 200x in the next bull run. It is a token you hold for longevity. It is a token you hold if you plan on being a participant in their ecosystem. So if stuff like this upsets you, if it worries you, do yourself a favor, save the frustration, sell your Cardano, get into something else like Polygon. Now financial advice. I don't have much to say else about this, Robin. Do you? Pretty
You have
straightforward.
a project
Got
that
delayed.
launched in 2017. We're in 2022. It's been 5 years, which is eternity in the crypto space.
Yeah, but in
And so
business
a
development,
delay of a few weeks. It's really just a blip on the radar as far as the timeline. And I'm always in the camp. I would rather have the delay done right
Than a Solana.
Delay, do it right, fix it when it's ready, launch it, instead of the opposite, which is
Solana.
launch it, we'll figure it out later.
Just say Solana.
Yeah. I mean, Ethereum has also done that, but they've had more time to fix it. And they've also they forked their entire network.
They did.
So, you know what I mean? There are ramifications to that. Now, can you overcome those? Absolutely. And there is
Yeah, brother.
examples of overcoming failures and glitches and problems, but not ideal. And the failures, glitches, and problems come at the expense of the investors, retail, honestly.
You know, Don Rocco. Don Rocco. Let's see your face. Throw yourself on this game. Rocco, if you got $1,000, you got to hold for 5 years. Are you buying Polygon or Cardano?
Well, we gotta assume I don't have any of those two.
You don't have any of them right now. 52-cent Cardano, $1 Polygon.
I'm probably gonna go Cardano.
Cardano? Robin, real quick.
Based on the trust of
long term
Charles.
long term
Charles.
Cardano.
Yeah, long-term Cardano.
I think the 3-year play, the 3 to 5 year play, Polygon all day, probably my most bullish 3 to 5 year project.
Polygon, hands down.
And then anything outside of 5 years, I'm gonna go
ADA.
ADA.
Fair enough.
Now I still hold ETH over ADA. I hold Bitcoin.
Do you
over,
hold Bitcoin?
I hold Bitcoin over ADA.
You hold Bitcoin. Do you hold Bitcoin over
Just
Polygon?
until I wouldn't surprise me if later on I changed my sentiment. But you know what? Cardano has the massive community. What they don't have is the DApps and the corporate backing.
You're talking
So
about
when corporate gets into Cardano,
Cardano.
your institutions, when you start seeing that on a massive scale, and I'm not saying they don't have the partnerships. I'm not saying they don't have DApps. It's there. It's growing. However, if you're gonna go all in on something versus Bitcoin, I don't think it's quite there yet, and I think it will get there. But before I go ham and go all in, and I hold more Cardano than I would Bitcoin, for an example,
Right.
I need to see more than just a thriving community, because right now that's their strongest area.
Yeah.
And you know what? You make a big case. Community is one of the most important things, and I do believe that. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, really bullish. And I don't mean to short sell Cardano on that, but I still think your better play is Bitcoin.
Rob, have we has Block 21 been in here?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well,
Block 21. Hola! Welcome, Sin City Crypto.
I'm hearing a lot of optimism. When optimism figures out how to airdrop tokens properly, then we'll talk about optimism. Let's move on. We're almost finished, guys. We got a couple NFT articles. We'll blast through these real quick, and we'll have Rocco mute Robin if he goes off on a story time tangent, which I don't see happening. Right, Rob? Perfect. Solana-based stablecoin Nerve drops 85% following a $3.5 million exploit. It's an algorithmic stablecoin, has become the latest to fail after dropping 85% from its dollar peg following a hack on an adaptive yield protocol, Nirvana Finance. Protocol, DPEG, stable, algorithmic. First thing comes to mind is USD. Second thing that comes to mind is Anchor. It was a flash loan attack, which resulted in a loss of $3.5 million worth of Tether. This is a quote from the Solana team, I believe, Solana FM team. Utilizing Solend protocol's flash loans, the hacker borrowed 10 million Circle stablecoin from the main pool vault, which was used to exploit 3.5 million USDT from the Nirvana Finance treasury. Why the hell do I keep seeing Solend? This is also the that was obviously a joke. This is also the protocol that took over someone's freaking wallet because they were over leveraged on one account. So be careful, tread carefully. If you're going to continue to use DeFi, tread extremely carefully. I wouldn't even mess with DeFi. The one exception, maybe, would be Aave, because it's all ran smart contracts. One exception, but even then I'd be hesitant. Robin, share your thoughts.
You got just the big takeaway, CeFi versus DeFi. I think, CeFi, Celsius is obviously the biggest player, and you could technically put Voyager in there, in a sense. They have centralized finance options. I know a lot of people are just using it as a buy and trade crypto asset platform, but they did dabble in that. And as you see, the adoption of, or the volume and the use case when it comes to Uniswap is not really pulled back as much as the rest of the crypto markets. So you're seeing people transact on DEXs, particularly Uniswap. And where we saw the exodus of volume and users on the traditional exchanges, we're seeing that people are feeling more comfortable with DeFi. And at the end of the day, if you have a DeFi protocol with liquidity pools and you're just swapping, there's not too much risk in using that because there's no centralized party behind it, taking your tokens and investing it elsewhere and giving you returns. It is basically just a group of smart contracts that execute what its intention is. And there's no CEO, there's no Mashinsky or any Do Kwon or essentially, and I know somebody started Uniswap. I'm not saying there isn't a face behind the platform, but as far as what it does with your money or your tokens is that it's done all decentralized and it's all done through smart contracts and that there's less risk. And so when we talk about this, stable coins, Solana Land, C5 protocols, money lost, I think you're going to start seeing more and more of this decentralized, true decentralized platforms that essentially remove the middleman, because the middleman a lot of times is the con man. And if you remove that person, you remove that temptation, less chance for failure.
Speaking of con man,
How you doing?
did you see my boy Aaron Rodgers came dressed up as Nick Cage from Con Air? See that? Packers training camp? No, because you're too busy following shitty teams like the Raiders. All right. Real quick, Robin did mention Voyager, and this is not going to be a talking point, but something interesting. U.S. regulators order Voyager to remove misleading statements about their FDIC. The FDIC and the Federal Reserve have sent a letter to Voyager asking it to remove false and misleading statements regarding FDIC insurance. A lot of people are saying, what the hell is the point? Little, too late. Maybe this is a precursor to maybe they'll start paying attention more to what claims people are making. When I was in the insurance industry and I had to get my insurance license to sell insurance in the state of Nevada, one of the things in the law segment they talk about is advertising and misleading. And I know people are not there for regulation and they're saying regulation is bad, but I am for sound regulation that makes sense. And something like this is a regulation that makes sense. We spend so much money in government on this agency and this agency and there's sub-segment of an agency. Spend some money and look at these companies, especially the exchanges that are saying stuff like what Voyager was saying. Your money is FDIC insured.
The crypto space is just ripe with false advertisement from top to bottom. I feel like every single website I go to for these projects, I'm like, oh, hey, what is this project? I'm not familiar with this token. It just pumped a lot. I will pull up the website, and then the first thing you see, the fastest blockchain.
Yes.
Or the most scalable.
Most decentralized.
The
That's
most
Solana.
Decentralized. And it's like, stop it. You are not the most decentralized. You are not the fastest. You're not the most scalable. You're not the most privacy. Like, stop, man. The most corporate adoption. And so
can you be more decentralized if you are decentralized? Can you be more decentralized?
Hell yeah.
Can you be just
The
decentralized?
only thing that's decentralized is air, right? We talked about this.
yeah. The only thing on this planet that's decentralized is air. And even then, we're pumping in a bunch of CO2. So,
Sure.
That's starting to change.
Stop the show.
What?
My boy Redman,
What happened?
he said he hit a $2,000 jackpot at Aliante in his Sin City shirt.
That's what's up, bro.
Listen, email us that picture. Email us a picture. We will show it on Monday.
And email us a picture of you holding up that cash. And let us know how much Bitcoin you plan on buying with that. Or crypto. Or what crypto.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, couple NFT articles and then we'll be done. Rocco, let's roll the NFT segment. Well, alrighty then. The city of Miami continues to be a staple in the world of not only Bitcoin, but now NFTs as well. Miami City partners with Time Magazine, MasterCard, and Salesforce to launch 5,000 Ethereum-based NFTs. Miami City Mayor Francis Suarez recently unveiled plans to launch 5,000 ETH NFTs in collaboration with the 3 companies I listed. It will be designed by 56 different artists in Miami, representing the city's 56-mile area. The NFT initiative has been launched to drive revenue to small businesses and nonprofits through exclusive reward offerings. It will provide unique experiences from one-of-a-kind events at local Miami restaurants to curated, unforgettable private tours of Miami's cultural institutions and other memorable activities. As far as the partnership with Time is concerned, the magazine will be responsible for guiding the strategy, developing creatives, and launching the entire initiative. All you hear is, especially from government, cities, Bitcoin is used to skirt sanctions. Bitcoin is used for illicit activity. Bitcoin is used for money laundering. It's nice to see people take cryptocurrency and the technology behind NFTs and blockchain and use it for good. You're giving exposure to 56 local artists in Miami. You're giving exposure to the city, the culture down there, the small businesses. I mean, this is great through and through. Robin's probably going to say it's a cash grab. Right?
No, I actually think it's good. I think Miami is the most progressive. I don't even think Miami is the most progressive crypto city out in the United States. You can make an argument for other cities. Was it Rio de Janeiro was making a lot of ground on
Brazil in general?
That's what I mean. So that could be an argument, but I don't. What's not an argument is what is the most Bitcoin or most crypto friendly city in the United States? Definitely Miami. 100%. I think there's no argument.
I wish it was Vegas, man. I wish it was Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. Dude, we're front and center.
We dropped that ball, bro.
We dropped the ball hard. We dropped 2 balls. Crickets. Yeah. I was gonna make a joke, but again, my filter kicked in.
It's
my
really
Brita
cool.
filter kicked in.
You know what I'd like to see is I feel like every major city has like an art district. And
Vegas has one.
Yeah. You go to any city. Miami has art district. LA does. You name a big city, they have an art district.
I don't think there's an art district in Maine, in Augusta, Maine.
Big cities, bro.
Okay.
And so, why not captivate that community? Why not prop those people up? Give them an identity outside of the streets
community, culture.
Yeah,
people,
and represent the culture that is, your city. And we see that in the representation when it comes to major sports franchise teams. You see people so passionate to represent the towns that they come from. Like, hey, man, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, or I'm a New England fan. And those people just through and through, no matter where they go, are so proud to represent and show their identity and what that community stands for. And what a better way of doing that than to have the soul and bread butter of the art and industry in your city be represented in the form of NFTs and let that shine, man. Because in the same way that you got different cuisines, like you have the Southern barbecue, and then you have New England clam chowder, and then you have Texas chili. Why not give the communities an opportunity to express themselves, not only just in food and in music, but just in straight culture and art, and incorporate music as well. Speaking of music, first of all, I do want to say Jesse's been here before. Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah. Welcome back, Jesse. I do want to take a look. We have the Snoop Dogg NFTs. I know I saw a bunch of comments on Gala's when we were talking about Gala. Well, there's a lot of comments on them doing music as well. And then anyways, yeah, so pull up my laptop. We got Snoop Dogg on Sounds XYZ. So with this, you hold NFTs, and the premise is that it gives you access to basically tracks that are, or designed specifically. So here you have
that's
two
pretty
different
cool.
songs.
Is this on OpenSea?
Yeah. And so these haven't minted yet, or so they're still a 0 of 1,000. But the idea is that you can have part ownership of this song and download it on your phone or whatever, however you consume your medium. And then this is all purchasable through NFTs. And then you can kind of see the different collection here. But anyway, something cool to check out, especially if you're into music. Yeah.
With so much drama in the LBC.
Snoop Dogg is head of the game when it comes to entertainment and NFTs, right? I think he's like the leader, right?
He's
as far as like
musician,
in the icon,
industry. Yeah,
someone that didn't come up in the industry.
Dez Bryant, former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. He's pretty big in the space as well. Last article we're going to talk about before we sign off, my friends. Professional soccer club Crawley Town signs midfielder after the NFT holders vote. Now, we talked about this at the height of the bull market. Community tokens, right? Where it allows you to essentially hold a share in a sports team. You can, like, let's say Snoop Dogg decides to launch a community token, and the holders of his token can vote on the name of the next album or something cool. Again, it goes back to community. And here, I believe this is a first. Professional English soccer team Crawley Town FC have followed through on a community vote by fans and NFT holders who were recently given a voice on what type of player the team should recruit next. Votes were also taken from nearly 1,000 season ticket holders, and the community voted, and they voted on a what's the gentleman's name that they signed? Anyways, they wanted to do, I believe it was a midfielder, and then so they went out and they signed a midfielder. So thought it was something cool. It gives people it's a sort of utility. It gives people reason to hold the NFT. And again, community brings the community together, just like our Sin City crypto community. I mean, Robin and I are constantly looking at other YouTube channels in our space. And what we always talk about is the difference of the chat. We see the chat of a show going on, and we're like, man, this chat's kind of, no one's really typing, no one's really talking. And then we always reference back to our chat. Even though there's only 35, 40, 50, 60 people in there, we got people constantly having side conversations, giving their input on the channel. And we love that. And that goes back to community. You'll see, we were watching one with like 600 people. You were getting one comment every like 5-6 minutes. And we're just like, that's like we're just so proud of our community. We love you guys. We hope you'll stick around because we're going places. So with that being said, unless Robin wants to add something to this article, we are going to be done.
No, just I know you were talking about sports leagues as well, but they had Barcelona had the auction of their NFT as well. So
they just had the El Clasico here too in Las Vegas. That was a big
the
event.
auction of the club's first NFT digital artwork is Inway, and so that one was by Sotheby's New York auction. So
the largest,
I think it's the largest
that
auction
or
house.
Christie's. Not
Yeah,
sure.
Sotheby's and someone else. Yeah. Anyways, major player. So
yeah. Also, before we sign off, guys, make sure if you want to win $2,000 hitting the jackpot and you want a Sin City Crypto shirt, make sure you check out our merchandise. Joking, of course. Also, congrats again to Redman. Please email us a picture of you winning. If you have that picture, you said sincitycrypto1@gmail.com. Also, make sure you go check out our merch store. Not just Sin City Crypto merch, but other t-shirts, items as well relating to crypto, but definitely the Sin City Crypto stuff. So Rocco just hooked it up with the Bubbles backpack, Crypto Bubbles backpack. That one's really good. Quality is amazing. Also, when you open the zipper inside, you'll see some cool in there too. So with that being said, Rocco, roll the outro music, my friend. We hope you guys had an amazing time. Big shout out to Forrest. Big shout out to Dan from the Chart Guys. Please, we will be bringing on a lot of guests over the next few months. All we ask of you as our community, show them the strength. They might look at our channel and say your channel is small, but guess what? Our community is the best out there. Let's make sure we go support the people that come support the channel. On that note, on behalf of myself, Robin, and Rocco, when we do the outro, I want your face in there. behalf of myself, Robin, and Don Rocco, we love you guys. Have an amazing
Rocco.
weekend.
Don't rock now.
We will see you Monday, 10:30 a.m. Vegas time. Have a great weekend.
Don't rock with tacos.
Don Rocco is allowing us to end the stream. Don Rocco, grazie.